luxury, it's always going to be defined by some sort of form of desirability and some sort of form of exclusivity.
Luxury brands are mainly brands that sell something that is partly status, partly exclusivity and desirability, partly craftsmanship.
Well, luxury, has to be redefined. Luxury to me is having something that you love in your wardrobe forever.
Luxury brands are everywhere, from the bags we carry to the clothes we wear, down to the shoes we step into every day. But luxury brands are at a crossroad. LVMH, seen as a bellwether for the luxury sector, soared close to 250% between 2019 and 2024. But it's since fallen around 20% from the highs of last year, with a recent bounce offsetting some of those losses and leaving investors struggling to chart a path forward for the luxury brands.
When you look at economic profits of the luxury industry, it basically nearly tripled between 2019 and 2024. So it's really been amazing years. And I think at some point, everybody started believing this was the new normal and started to expect that this would continue. But as we all know, at some point, things stabilize or normalize.
Joelle Grunberg is partner at McKinsey, who leads the firm's apparel, fashion, and luxury sector in North America, and co-authors a yearly report on the state of luxury.
So as we know, in 2024, things slowed down in a significant way for the luxury industry. It has been a tale of different stories, in all fairness. Not all the brands, not all the corporations have suffered in the same way, and some are still doing great, in fact. But what we think is that 2025 will overall be a year of normalization. We obviously continue to see growth, but I would say in a more muted way. And it will also significantly depend on the region and the market. It would also depend on what category you mainly operate in. And it also depends, I would say, on, again, the situation of the brand overall, because some brands are doing much better than the others.
Hermès is one of those brands outperforming its luxury peers, but they are very much the outlier. Just last week, Hermès reported a jump in fourth quarter revenue, while LVMH and Kering posted declines. And Grunberg says there's a range of global headwinds challenging the luxury sector.
Two main factors contributed to the huge growth that we've seen since 2019. One first factor is clearly the rise of prices in luxury. Most of the brands have increased prices in a very significant way, more than double digits every year. And so that has contributed to 80% of the growth in revenue of these companies. The second factor is the pull of China. As we all know, the Chinese customer has been a very, very strong contributor to the growth of luxury globally. And so that, pull has been extremely strong and is slowing down right now. And what has happened in the past year and a half is that the aspirational luxury customer, and more specifically in the US, has been challenged because there's been a lot of people losing their jobs. And so therefore, they have been much more cautious and on pause. So part of the explanation is linked to that aspirational customer being a bit more on hold.
That perfect storm has resulted in some aspirational customers being priced out of the first-hand luxury market. We're very happy to receive them.
Maximilian Bittner is the CEO of Vestiaire Collective, a platform for pre-owned designer and luxury products founded in 2009, aimed at making fashion more sustainable. And a more restrained consumer means the secondhand market is seeing significant growth, expected to reach $350 billion globally in 2028. That's up from $197 billion in 2023, with Vestiaire estimating 82% of its orders prevent a first-hand purchase.
We definitely do cater to the demand of the aspirational customer, as certain brands are more affordable, more accessible than they would be in a first-hand store. And I think we've especially seen this over the last 1 or 2 years, in a period of economic uncertainty, which in parallel has seen luxury brands increase prices, significantly over the last 4 or 5 years. When I joined Vestiaire at the end of 2018, early 2019, I recognized the incredible brand and community. But I also recognize the need for us to build a scalable, profitable business, for the next 20, 30, 40 years. Even the last 2 years, the business has proven extremely resilient, growing with more than 20% revenue growth. So the business has been, throughout the up and down cycles of pre-COVID, COVID, post-COVID, remained extremely resilient, which is great for us to see.
Parlez-vous Vestiaire Collective?
His formula for Vestiaire's resilience and growth, making pre-loved luxury more accessible to aspirational customers and vintage lovers.
The level of a spectrum goes from, your hardcore Hermes Brunello user to a more aspirational luxury brands, to more designer brands. I think overall our consumer base has stayed fairly stable over the last years. We've partly benefited from the aspirational customer maybe being slightly priced out by certain brands. On the other hand, some of our aspirational customers are buying slightly less than they were 2 years ago, but we see that slightly recovering now.
Vestiaire is not alone in riding the secondhand wave. The RealReal and Rebag offer similar services. And Rebag's reach got a lot bigger this year when it partnered with Walmart to sell its catalog of about 27,000 items on the retail giant's website. Targeting the aspirational customer, what might seem like a threat to luxury retail, in reality, could be a mutually beneficial relationship.
I think overall the mood and the attitude of luxury brands have dramatically improved over the last 5-6 years towards secondhand because, fundamentally we are not cannibalizing their sales. If anything, we pay homage to their brands by showing to the consumers, both the buyers and the sellers, how much value is retained in these products that they're buying firsthand.
Norma Kamali rose to the top of high-end fashion with the iconic sleeping bag coat that she designed in 1973. Since then, the New York-based designer has proven her ideas fresh and innovative time and time again. Like Bittner, Kamali sees the value of secondhand markets in luxury fashion.
I think anything that's a creative process, that's fun, is good for people. Right? And if in that secondhand you get a better price and you get a brand that you haven't been able to buy before, there's a whole cult of people who look for Norma Kamali vintage. And it's fascinating to me, but I see how great that is because in that generation, there's something I did when I was that age that is connecting with them.
Would you say Norma Kamali is also luxury?
Luxury to me is something that is accessible, affordable, and will last in your wardrobe forever. It can't be a purse that you spend $30,000 on and sort of collect in a closet with other purses.
How do you strike that balance then of being both accessible but not oversaturated in the market?
It's an important thing to do, and I think, first of all, knowing your distribution, being careful about the distribution, make sure the distribution is to your customer, the person who connects with you. And we have a global distribution, and we could still be reaching many, many more people.
There's no question that more consumers are exposed to and have access to luxury than ever before. But at least one icon of the industry admits that change is inevitable. We started this conversation with this idea of luxury doesn't mean exclusivity. Do you think some of those secondhand apps are also changing the conversation in that regard?
Oh, totally. I think the fashion industry clearly is going through a huge, huge change. And it's long overdue. It really is. And I think when an industry can have a lot of variety and a lot of choices and a lot of price ranges, then it's healthy.
Healthy for the consumer, but a challenge for the luxury brands to overcome as they look to rediscover the growth of the last 5 years.